Hi there, everybody. Can you believe it is the penultimate day of VEDS? Yes, it is day 29. Today I'm going to do my fourth weekly video responses type video. I wanted to get one more in before the month was over. A little bit side note, I am filming this video in a bit of a panic because Tamara and I are planning on going to Disneyland literally next week. We have been in the passport waiting process for over 4 months. We applied for a special expedition, or however you pronounce that, last week, and we are waiting on a call that's supposed to come. They said either yesterday or today. We did not get a call yesterday, so we're waiting on a call today. Basically, if our phone doesn't ring by 5 o'clock, we're not going. Been planning for months, but the passport system can't get its stuff together. So anyway, we're kind of panicking. I envy all of you who get to watch this video because y'all are already tomorrow, and I would very much like to be out of this loop of uncertainty. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. I'm gonna go sort of down the list here in my usual arbitrary, in no particular order kind of way. Oh, for Tessa, I want to talk about your 15 best guitar intros video. You had a lot of good ones, and I like that you've been highlighting this month just how important it is for me as a songwriter, but for people, just how important it is to hook people fast. I mean, I know that the story always was that if you were sending like a tape over to a record label and your song didn't have anything that caught their ear within something crazy like 10-15 seconds, they'd be like, enough, next. So yeah, that's all very important, but also two songs in that list you mentioned are songs that I play in my usual concert repertoire, specifically for the reason that it's fun to watch how quickly the audience knows what it is. I always bring a 12-string guitar, and I do California Dreaming, and then I will, on my usual 6-string, do Hotel California, and I always make the comment that y'all probably gonna know what song this is by the first chord that I play, and normally they do. And I've actually posted covers of both of those songs this week after you made that video, because I figured I'd highlight them there. Going down to James here, I wanted to make a comment that is partially about your Mary Poppins Returns video, but then also kind of partially about your video that was a bit of a rant from day 25 on the She-Hulk and Little Mermaid backlash. But it's not about either of those things. It's mainly about what you were saying about how you really liked that movie, and it was very, it had a very personal meaning for you, and how the general consensus about that movie is from people, is a lot of people think that it's like a desecration of the original beautiful film, and it's not, and it's just them destroying a beloved character and whatever. But that's the point. That's the weird thing about the sort of consensus, especially when it comes to art. I always think of the band Nickelback. Am I a big Nickelback fan? No, but they are just sort of the famous band that are the easiest band in the world to hate, where they just became the poster child for bands that are bad, but their millions of record sales and sold out concert attendances around the world would suggest that they do in fact have fans who probably have to hide from a lot of online message boards because they'll get called names because they like a certain band. I've never understood that. It's all so subjective that I don't understand why a brigade of people can be like, oh, you like that thing, and that means that you don't know anything about this media form, because you know, if you were intelligent, you would know that this sucks. I've never understood that, and I guess that goes back into your video on the She-Hulk and Little Mermaid backlash. It's like once a vocal minority is online and are talking smack about a certain thing, it can be almost inescapable for people who enjoy the things that are getting talked bad about. I don't get it. I've never understood that part of the online world, and I have left a number of message boards over the years for that exact reason. I was on these KISS message boards, and they had a couple of lineup changes, and people were like, anybody who, literally, like, this sounds very political, because it is political, people were like, anybody who supports the current band is a sheep, and I'm like, it's a band. You gotta chill. Anyway, I'm gonna move over to Caleb. I really liked your video on Jimmy Olsen. Obviously, I really liked your video on your record collection as well. A lot of really interesting pieces in there. I've already commented on that one. But yeah, your Jimmy Olsen video. A character that I was always aware of, in that I always knew there was that guy taking pictures of Superman who worked at, I can't remember what the newspaper is called or whatever right now. I'm not a big comic book type guy, but I think it's fascinating that I assumed that the fact that he got his own comic for a while was just born out of the era of we need a million spin-offs, which I guess is still ongoing. That's just a common theme with comic books, is that they have a million spin-offs. I love that they gave a spin-off to a character like Jimmy Olsen, who had, it seems to me like, and again, I know nothing, literally nothing about this, but he has, it seems to me like he has such a lack of, like, defining character features from only being a really, like, bit part, that they were allowed to get really creative with his personality and his abilities, or lack thereof, or overall evilness from book to book, because, yeah, he was almost sort of a blank slate they could work with. Doesn't explain why they put a million different plot holes into how he could be all these different things, but it's cool. It does make him rather mysterious, even though it is likely just one of those, it's one of those things where he's given a bit of a mysterious background just by virtue of them not really knowing what to do with him. You know what I'm saying? You know what? Next on this list is Jeffrey. And I had to change my shirt for this part of the video because Jeffrey's been wearing this shirt lately. And I have the exact same Nerdfighteria shirt. I got it from VidCon 2013. Way back. It still fits, that's cool. But yeah, I was very stoked to see this. I was like, me too! I gotta wear that for the next responses video, and then I forgot until halfway through. But I'm wearing it now, so all is well. Anyway, Jeffrey, I wanted to talk about your video on Arcade America. That is just a video game that I would have loved so much as a kid. You know me, I have, in a couple different VEDs, undergone a large road trip. I love driving, I love road trips. I would have loved that game. It seems right up my alley to have a game about booking a gig at Woodstock and having to travel across the country to go do it, going through all these zany levels that are vaguely themed towards, you know, the cities and locations you would pass along the way. Even though it's not exactly based on realism and it's a very cartoony experience, it is still very, very cool. Something I had never heard of in my life, and I played a lot of 90s games. I forget if you said it was a PC game or not. Played a lot of bad 90s PC games, but I don't remember that particular one, but it looks like a blast. Just a couple people left here. Gonna move on to Alicia, who, of course, I would just say every week how much I adored your songs, and I do. I always do. But I also want to talk about your nostalgic lens photos. What did you say? It was like a film of nylon over the lens? I don't know. It's brilliant because it works really well. Did you read about that from somewhere, that would work? Because it just, I guess it's because I am history boy, and I also spend a lot of time on the Old School Cool subreddit, which has a lot of photos that look just like that. These candid shots on some sort of old ancient Polaroid that's been oxidized over the years and become grainy, and the colors are washed out. But it creates, yeah, a sort of nostalgia, as you say in your video. You call it a nostalgic lens. And exactly, it gives all those photos you took a layer that I suppose that isn't really there. It looks like you're looking back on your life, which you will be. I mean, one day you're gonna, in the future it won't be the same. We won't be looking back at these color washed out photos anymore, but I'm sure we'll all look back on these videos we've made and our pictures later in life, should YouTube or any backup of these videos continue to exist, because that's the problem with digital. You can't just store something in your closet forever. These clouds in which we store things will probably come down someday. But yeah, it gives some perspective to... That's the thing about time. All these things that seem very current to us will be a distant memory one day, and those pictures are just so trippy. The effect works so well. It made me feel some feelings. Speaking of videos that made me feel some feelings, I don't even know how I'm going to talk about this one. It's from Abby. Abby, you made a video just about your weekend with no context. That's the one I want to talk about. I can't explain it. It made me feel feelings that I don't know how a human being would use words to describe those feelings. Maybe I'm totally misinterpreting this, but the vibe I'm getting from that video is a lot of little highlights of what went on your weekend, some fun you had. Looks like you went out to dinner, maybe went to an arcade, and you had some great times. But it's interspliced with those footage, with those shots of just sort of looking at the walls and ceiling in your room. That gets then briefly interrupted by these super fun activities, but before you know it, it's just back there. And yeah, my eloquence can only tell you that it made me feel some sort of way. Hope that helps. But yeah, something about the juxtaposition of the, like, sort of solemn, but not necessarily sad, just maybe almost, monotony's not even the right word, but just the, yeah, I don't know. I tried really hard to tell you the feelings that I feel about that video, but I don't know. Just made me feel a sort of way. Anyway, that was a terrible attempt to describe that, but what can you do? I have very much enjoyed watching all of y'all's videos, not just this week, but this whole month. If you made a video in these last couple of days here, it will not get a direct video response from me, but I'll try to be active in the comments still. And now I regrettably have to stop filming this video and go back to the panic of, are we going on a trip? My plan was, if everything goes smoothly, to tomorrow make a video from the passport office being all like, oh, we have our passport, we did it. So I guess I'll make you guys go through the same thing. You'll see tomorrow if this trip is happening or not, just like I will. Very scary. And I'll see y'all again one more time for day 30 tomorrow. Oh yeah, check out the description for links to where you can find the channels of all my other wonderful fellow VEDSies. There's also, I'm a musician, there's links in there to my music stuff and all the information you want to know about that. Thank you for watching. I'll catch y'all again tomorrow.